Hello everybody and welcome to today's Southborough District Wheelers Friday Frenzy. Once again we've got a fantastic sign up, a huge range of riders on the start line, so it's looking like it's going to be a good one. Currently 75 riders on the start line. We've got last week's returning winner. They are here with us once again, which is Dave Blodgett, and then Wout Hartwell finished second, and Fabian Devola was third last week. And in the women's results, Kate Parrish took the win ahead of Wendy Gallagher and Claire Howard. And we also had two youths last week, Maurice Tate and Henry Weaver. So today we are riding from Rye to Tenterton via the Royal Military Canal. It's a 21.2 kilometre race. And there's 140 metres of climbing. There's a small lump around about 12 kilometres in, then a slightly smaller lump, and then there's a 60 to 70 metre uphill climb to the finish. We did this race back in season 1, which was back in March this year, and Guillaume Toffoli took the win ahead of Mads Pinsgaard and Nick Greenall. Nick Greenall is here again. James Curry featured that day, Joe Benions, Andrew Larking. I'm sure they're all back as well today. They were all here for round 1 last week, so great to see them returning for season 3. And we're now a minute away from the start then, so let's head over to the start line. There we are then. Oh, no Joe Benions today. He's in on the chat though. He's following us on the live stream. Don't know if that's you got a race this weekend, Joe? I know you're riding for Lewis Cycling Club in real life, but thanks for joining us on the live stream. So 30 seconds to go then. See Mike Swart in there, the creator of the RGT DB website. And looking through the field there, good range of kits on show. All right, 10 seconds out then. Let's get powered up. Let's get ready to go. And we're out the gate then. We're away. So the usual frantic, frenetic start then. Already creating a bit of a split. It's now settled down. Already we have an early breakaway here. M. Tawney jumping off the front. He's put up, reeled in by the pack. So you can see the course profile at the bottom of the screen there. Fairly flat for the first half. Then we've got that small little lump. You can see the red, yellow and blue vertical lines. And there's another small couple of little yellow lines. And then we've got those darker red sections right at the end. As the pace picks up a bit, gets slightly strung out. So it is pretty much flat. Put these fans on. It's pretty chilly in my garage. You soon get warmed up when you're on the turbo. Again, some more attacks here. Getting strung out. Because it's last week's winner Dave Blodgett and then Tim Cook of the 3R team. And they've got a little chase group of Cosmac and then Greenall and Rockwell of Rassier Racing. And they're joined by Hartfeld and Beams of the Pedalers. And they've got a little gap then at the moment. Really stringing things out. Some other riders are now trying to make their way across. You see several SDW rider kits there. The red shoulders, black band and then yellow across the backs. Easy to spot. Look at them, there's about 10 of them there in that group as the field comes back together then. See Jem Page is in here. Tom Moss, Keith Anchenson, honorary SDW member for this series, Chris Duffy. As we see another little attack off the front end. Chester Dobson in here as well, Simon Miller, the organiser of this great series. So this is the view from a little bit further back in that pack then. If it does get strung out, and be careful not to get caught with any splits. 40 riders in this group then. All fairly comfortable so far, despite those earlier attacks. So back to my view then, here I am over on the side. A bit further back, here's W Page. I want to say Warren Page. This might be Jem's son, riding here in the youth category. Dominguez, Vino. And we've got Gazdag, Suhard, Grant, who we were following last week on the rider cam. Damon Strasser and Mark Benny just behind them. And back to another largest group on the road then. This group featuring Claire Howard, our best placed SDW lady after round one. I think that's Wendy Gallagher in that group as well. The New Zealand rider who finished second best lady last week. So back to the front then. We've got Cook, King Smile on out the front. We've got a 30-metre gap currently over the rest of the field then. Still just holding them at around about 20 metres. You see Beams there and Tawny pulling the pack across as Cook sits up and waits to get scooped up by the charging peloton then. They're still in this early part of the race, fairly flat, no major bumps just yet. And Western as well from the SDW club in this front group. I've not seen Wout Hartfeld yet. I don't think his name might just be keeping out of the wind. Once again, we get another little group pushing off the front. Tawny, Blodgett, Greener and Rockwell again up there. And there is Hartfeld in 5th place. There he is coming across with Beams, closing that gap up. They're not being shy. They're not sitting in the pack. They're looking to make some moves, make some action, see if they can get some riders dropped through these attacks. Still a decent sized group. It's hard to tell if their tactic is working. As Nicky Hogard, Danish rider, now comes to the front. Pretty experienced on RGT. So down to about 38 riders in this group. Doesn't look like there's any of our female riders in this front group. As we saw, Claire Howard, Wendy Gallagher, those two were close together. I believe Chris Duffy and his wife Christina are also here representing this evening. See two more riders making moves off the front end. And it's John Beans. Takes that corner ahead of the pack. Small, first little bit of real elevation then. Only 2.5%, levelling off. Not going to do too much damage to the pack just yet. Once again, Logic comes across. He is looking feisty and on form. Slight bit of downhill now then. And they're getting reeled back in. Corney, Arango, Greenall, Oscar Hutchings of Team Tour 2000 now coming through. They're going to be in the Echelon Racing League. Pro Series starts a week tomorrow, but there's two community events this weekend. As we come up to the halfway banner then. Here it is. It was Paul Padell who took the group through the banner. Reeled back in. We got this other very gentle incline before the first real bump of the day. Here we are back in the pack. Hunting down beams up ahead. I think the group's just mindful of that little bump that's coming up. You can see it in the top right hand corner. It's not too big. Big enough. The beams is holding everyone off at the moment. Putting out a lot of effort at the moment. There he is at the base of that little climb. Now we're going to see the first real attacks. It's the pedallers swarming to the front. There's a bit more uphill to come. We've got some splits. That group is certainly smaller. As that main group then comes around to pick up Oscar Hutchings. So it's Tim Cook on the front of that group. That's around 16 riders or so in that group. It starts to get sprung out again at the front. So here's the chasing threesome. They're 100 metres behind. That's Brooke Gravel, Keith Aitchison and Tom Moss. And then behind them there's another decent sized group. Ryan Miller, Vicky Hogarth, Simon Miller, Paul Cadell, Mike Aid. They'll do well. Turtle Jet Reed in there as well. We try and catch up with those three riders ahead. But this is the action back at the front then. That's Logic. Goes out the front. No one chasing just yet. The pack just wants to work together for the time being. Just keep an eye on him and then reel him in. So 19 riders in this front group. And they're happy to blodge it. Sit at 50 metres, 5 watts per kilo. What we have left for that final climb. Oh, a little downhill section there. Almost catching me off guard. Work a little bit there just to come back in. Come up to that penultimate little lump then. 3.5%. Plenty of draft saving to be had at those sort of gradients. So Blodgett is out front, but Diarango is trying to come across. He's bridging the gap. And the pace of the peloton is picking up to respond. Not far to the finish line now. It's still a climb, but Blodgett can climb. So we don't want to give him too much of a head start. So Arango 10 metres behind. The rest of the pack another 60 metres further back as Andrew Larkin comes to the front. A regular performer in the Friday Frenzy. So another little bump. 2k to go. Base of the final climb. It's coming into view in the top right hand corner on the profile. And these two are caught. Here comes the pack. It's Ron Gardner on the front then. 1 mile to go. 19 riders in contention. So this climb is in two parts. There's a slightly steeper initial section, a small plateau, and then it kicks again. So it was a solid win for Mike Swart then, 30 or 40 metres ahead of Cosmac in second, Reno in third. There's Renew coming across in 18th, Tim Cook for 3R in 19th, and Keith Aitchison representing SDW, he's left Brook Ravel behind. Going to score some good points for SDW then. As he comes across the line, take 20th position. As they start to dribble across then, Jez Reed, Brook Ravel, Padal, Miller. Dobson there just getting the better of, well, just being bested by Tom Moss. Here's Simon Miller. Another SDW rider coming through then. They've left Nicky Hogarth behind, who will take 29th and 28th. And here's Tawney, one of the earlier pace setters. He's going to come through in 29th. He's got 160 metres to go. But let's head back down the field a little bit. There's Pedley, Mike Aid, Chris Duffy from the SDWBs. And he's got Weston from SDW 45 metres behind. And then just a bit further back is Jem Page. These guys are into the last 500 metres now then. Looks like Duffy at this point is going to hold off Weston and Page. Let's see what legs he's got left for the final quarter of a kilometre. So there's our top 25 then. Mike Swart taking the win. An average of 4.35. A 1.6 second gap against Mia Kosmak, who was just ahead of Nick Greeno on the line, and Oscar Hutchins of Team Tour 2000 in 4th. Alex Rockwell of Rasso Racing in 5th. Some pretty big numbers there, 4.6, 4.7 watts per kilo. Some very efficient riding there though by Nick Greeno at 3.89 watts per kilo. Some efficient riding by him in the run up then. There were some nice flat sections where you could draft. So Duffy holds off Weston and Page. Let's head down a little bit, see if we can pick up some more battles on the road. Here's Wayne Schnitzling, aka King, Proctor, O'Grady, Hernandez. We're going to drop down, see if we can pick up some of our youth riders. See if we can pick up our female riders. A little bit further down. We're inside just outside the top 50 now. They're on the climb, inside the last 1 kilometre then. Everyone's got their targets on the road. You can see Hurst here trying to catch Rowe, 24 metres ahead of him. Might do it at the moment, he's closing that gap a little bit. So he's got to watch out for Gazdag behind. Here's a big little group then. Claire Howard in this group. Jay Rice. Wendy Gallagher then. So, Al Hearn. So a little group of 3 ladies. Oh, sorry, Hearn's a little bit further back, but we've got Howard and Wendy Gallagher here. H. Schmitz in the open category there on the front in the blue, just trying to pull away a little bit. Grant making a bit of a move as well. These guys and girls are within the last kilometre. It's like Grant there, maybe a little bit of an issue. He seems to have eased up quite a bit there. But here's Wendy Gallagher responding to Claire Howard's attack. Trying to put a bit of pressure onto Wendy. Splitting this group up. Jay Rice and Novi here being left behind. As Wendy gets into the 4.2, she's coming onto the wheel then of Claire Howard. These 2 ladies are going for it, wheel to wheel. You can see them dropping the riders behind. They're in a group of 6 or 7. Gallagher then just sat on the wheel of Howard. We're up over the first bit of the climb, across that little plateau onto the second part then. There is this 13% section. It's a tough little kick that just saps your energy, saps your speed. But Howard's responding into the red. Same, Wendy Gallagher responds. Whatever Claire Howard tries at the moment, she's just not quite able to shake Wendy. It's a little bit of a slugfest as we're inside the last 500 metres then. Still around about another 200 metres of climbing before we get any sort of relief. That gap hovering around 5, 6 metres, 7 metres, 8 metres. It drops back down again a little bit. That elastic keeping these 2 together. They're just staying so close together just at the moment. Weaving across the road a little bit as the gradient eases up to 3%. From this point it gets easier and easier as we get into the last 220 metres. And now Howard kicks. She's opening that gap, 16 metres, 18 metres. There's the finish line, she can see it. 4.9 watts per kilo, she's opening it up. She's coming up to the last 100 metres. It looks like Claire Howard then is going to best Wendy Gallagher. take the women's win on the road. Put some decent points on the overall leaderboard for herself. That was really good. Little battle there. As I say, we might be down in 59th and 60th place overall, but those two were really battling against each other. We see a few more riders coming across the line then. Another little battle further down here. We can see Hearn just trying to stay on the wheel of Grant, although it looks like that earlier issue he had, it was an issue. He's got a kick on him now. He's pulling away here. Hearn rounds that final corner to come into the last 200 metres. She will take third place in the women's category. A little bit further down then we've got P. Simone. 50 metres ahead of Elliott there. You can see him on the road. Here's Alvarez just trying to catch Elliott. Looks like they might do that. And a little bit further down, here's Linda van Dijk riding in the OTR colours. She's 800 metres ahead of Christina Duffy. Her first race in the series. Last week we had Chris Duffy, her husband. She is just 1 mile from the finish then, a few hundred metres from the base of that climb. She's riding for SDW, so she'll be taking second place in the SDW female riders competition. And a little bit further down is Shang, also riding for SDW. Got a couple of parked riders behind her. So good to see the ladies in action. These front two, Claire Howard and Wendy Gallagher, really put on a little show for us then. Well done to everyone today. It was a tough kick at the end. It didn't look like it was much, but the kick, the plateau, and then the kick again. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to provide much commentary during that section because it was quite challenging. So I do appreciate you tuning in. I will be stepping back a little bit from streaming and commentary. I've got some winter training and racing to focus on. The commentary is fun. I've appreciated you all joining me. But it does mean a little bit like today. Probably can't go quite as hard as I'd like to on the climbs and in the racing. So I'm going to be easing back on that to focus on my own racing and training. But Riley will still be continuing on VCN with some streams and our other contributors as well. So thanks for joining us. We're going to leave these last few ladies as they make their way up the final climb then. There's Christina Duffy coming up to the 1 kilometre kite. And we're just going to roll in with Linda van Dijk coming up for the last few hundred metres for her in what has been race 2 from season 3 of the Southborough District Wheelers from Rye to Tenterton via the Royal Military Canal. And once again, there'll be another race next week. There are 5 races up till Christmas, 5 races after Christmas. Next week's race, just give me a quick second, I will go to give you the details on that. Obviously 6:30 next Friday, as always. But it is from Sleeches to Mayfield, 18 kilometres, 255 metres. It's an out and back course. Drop down into the middle of the course and then back up. It looks like there's quite a bit of punchy climbing. It's pretty undulating. And a shout out as well to Philip Riley, who puts all the results together. Check all those out on RGTDB. So that's Linda coming across the line then. Thanks a lot everyone for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed this. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evenings. And goodbye. Thank you. See you all again soon.